Stop focusing on making $1 million and instead focus on making your first 10,000. In this video, I will be sharing my top 5 reasons why everything changes after you save your first $10,000. So let's begin. The first is, it shatters the mental barrier of wealth. Hitting your first $10,000 in savings is like unlocking your first big achievement in a game. It's a milestone that proves that you are capable of so much more. Suddenly, saving something like $20,000 or $50,000 doesn't feel as impossible anymore. It's a mental shift that transforms how you think and look at money. Classical study from the 90s by scientist Albert Bandura, I hope I pronounced that correctly, shows why this happens. It's all about overcoming those mental barriers and sowing the seed of self-belief, what Bandura calls self-efficacy. This is essentially your confidence in your abilities to tackle and also achieve goals. Think of it like this. Imagine you are a total beginner at a new game. You're a level 1 adventurer with a wooden sword, right? And you're up against a level 50 dragon. You wouldn't even dream of winning because it feels way out of your reach. But if the game gives you smaller quests, like for example defeating a level 5 goblin, it will definitely slowly develop you and you are slowly building on your confidence and skills. This is exactly the same with personal finance. If you focus on something smaller and perhaps more realistic, you're more likely to succeed in that first step rather than thinking vaguely about $1 million, for example. For those who haven't watched my previous videos, first of all, shame on you. Right? Second, I always like to compare fitness and finance. Well, after all, they do start with the same letter, right? Let's say your Apple Watch shows that you've walked 9,892 steps today. Odds are you'll find a way to walk another 108 steps just so you can see 10,000 steps on your watch. Why? Because round numbers feel way more satisfying and complete. The second is, it sets a very good foundation for investments. Here's a mind-blowing concept. The more money you invest, the bigger your returns can be without adding any form of extra risk. Well, thank you, Captain Sherlock. It's called the unfair risk to reward ratio, and understanding this can completely change your view on investing. Let's break it down, shall we? Imagine if you invest $20 in the stock market. Like any investment, there's always some level of risk, so let's assume that by the end of the year, you earned a 10% return. That means you've added an extra $2, bringing your total to $22. $2 is pocket change. You could probably find that much hidden underneath your couch cushions or in your jacket. Let's say you invest $20,000 instead of $20. With the same 10% return, you would end up the year with an extra $2,000. That's not coffee money, that's rent, or a flight, or even a serious addition to your savings. Here's the kicker. In both examples, the risk you took is identical. You invested in the same market, under the same conditions, for the same amount of time. So what's the difference? Starting with more money allowed you to take advantage of that larger return. This is why building up your initial investment capital is so powerful. Over time, this is how small investments, no matter how small they are, end up snowballing into substantial wealth. The third is, $10,000 builds momentum for the next goal. Your first $10,000 is just the starting line. It's just lighting the fuse for a financial firework that's about to take off. Think of it like planting a small tree. At first, it seems tiny and barely casting a shadow, but as you keep watering it and letting time do its thing, it will eventually grow taller, stronger, and will provide you with shade, fruits, and even more seeds to plant. Here's how that works with your money. Let's say you start at $0 and commit to saving and investing $1,000 a year with an average of 10% annual return from something like, for example, the stock market. Hitting your first $10,000 might take approximately 10 years, but that is where the magic begins. A very common mistake that people make is assuming that every single financial milestone is gonna take as long as the first one. They think it will take another 8 years to save the next $10,000 and then another 8 years to save even more. Once you've hit $10,000, the game changes. Your money is not just only sitting there, it's actually working for you. Let's break it down. Getting from $10,000 to $20,000 takes approximately 4.7 years, assuming that you keep saving $1,000 annually. Then, reaching $30,000 takes even less, just about 3.5 years. After that, $40,000 happens in roughly 2.5 years, and $50,000 just 2.2 years. And here's the kicker. This example assumes that you're only saving $1,000 per year. If you increase that, say for example picking a better paying job or opting for a side hustle or just being smarter with your expenses, you can hit those milestones way faster. The fourth is Murphy's Law takes its course. Oh, Murphy. Everybody's favorite fun sucker. What have you done to us, Murphy? For those who are not familiar, Murphy's law states that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Suddenly, your car is not gonna start, someone cancels that deal you've been waiting for, or your pipe bursts at home. Life likes to throw curveballs, and they usually come with a hefty price tag. Here's the thing, having $10,000 set aside can act like a financial safety net when life just randomly decides to get messy. Whether it's unexpected medical bills, a surprise car repair, or even losing your job, a $10,000 buffer can help you avoid spiraling into debt. It's not about preventing emergency. Those are bound to happen, but rather you are preparing for them. And honestly, I don't know what you think about this, and please let me know down in the comments below, but peace of mind is priceless. Knowing that you've got a cushion for the unexpected frees up your brain for what really matters, like health, goals, and relationships. Think of it this way, you're hitting the mute button on financial anxiety so you can continue and enjoy your life. Number 5, you eliminate your high interest debt. Credit card debt is like quicksand for your finances, and in 2024, it's worse than ever. With average credit card interest soaring above 20%, carrying a balance makes it nearly impossible to get ahead financially. Let me tell you a story so you can relate. A friend of mine named Alex graduated university and decided to celebrate with a big trip to Thailand. He saved about $5,000 and planned everything out, or so he thought. The first few weeks were great. But then Alex decided to extend his trip by another 2 months. He didn't think twice about swiping his credit card for hotels, flights, and dinners, assuming he would pay it all off later. When Alex got home, reality just slapped him very hard. He'd spent way more than the $5,000 he'd saved, and the bills started piling up. With no job lined up yet, he couldn't even make his payments on time. Interest charges just snowballed, and within months, his credit card debt had ballooned out of control. Here's the deal. The average American has about $7,500 in credit card debt. While it's very tempting to think that investing your money should be your first move, paying off your high credit debt should be your priority. Why? Let's break it down. Imagine you've got $10,000 in cash and are debating what to do with it. If you invest that money in the stock market, earning an average 7% return, you'd have $10,700 by the end of the year. Sounds good, right? But if you're also carrying $10,000 in credit card debt with a 20% interest rate, that debt grows to $12,000 over the same year. You've effectively made $700 in the market, but lost $2,000 to interest. That puts you $1,300 in the hole. High interest credit card debt is a financial anchor that is constantly dragging you down. Before you invest, focus on paying it all off as fast as possible. Once you're debt free, you will have a much stronger foundation to build real wealth. And you can celebrate with something more budget friendly than a 2-month-long vacation. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe and share it with someone who really needs to hear these tips. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.